All right, so let's talk a little bit about the emotional turmoil that sync licensing can provide us. I'm going to share with you guys a personal story today. Hopefully, you guys find it interesting and useful. But sync is one of these interesting. It's not even sync. I think it's music, where you can feel like you're on top of the world, a master of your craft. A genius one day, and then you fast forward a couple of weeks or months, and you're an absolute amateur fraud again. And so that's where I was not too long ago, was feeling like I was on top of the world. I had secured my, first major, my first theme placement ever with a Major League Baseball talk show. And through that relationship, through that library that I had been offered that through, we got a second opportunity just this last week to pitch for another theme opportunity for Major League Baseball Network. So naturally excited for sure. Let's go, right? We get the brief, we get the visuals, we actually get the video asset that we're going to be scoring to, and we get some reference tracks. We get a couple of ideas. They even had some kind of rough sketch music underneath it that they thought, this is kind of where we want to go. And I'm like, all right, pretty clear. It was very clear where they wanted to go with it. So I get to work. Now, it had been a while since I'd been composing, right? So I was a little more active in the summer, hadn't been as active in the fall, and now moving closer to December. So had to sort of dust off the cobwebs and opened up my Logic session, and I started composing. And I kid you not, probably went through 4 different iterations of a kind of idea. And after each one, loved what I was making in terms of I loved the riff, but then I would watch the video assets, which I put in my Logic session as I'm composing, and I'm like, music doesn't match the visuals. This riff doesn't feel at all like what these visuals are telling me. And it's a kind of a very hard, it's like an artistic sense that you get after you compose to many different visuals in your career. But you can kind of feel when your music is really matching the visuals, telling the right story, nailing the pacing, and kind of just going along and really kind of working with the visuals. My first 4, maybe even 5 ideas were not doing that. So after 5 ideas and each one taking you a couple of hours to kind of structure to put together, I went through a big come to Jesus moment of maybe I don't have it anymore, right? And this is after I just secured a theme not too, earlier this year in March. And, you guys know I've done really well in this business, secured 9,000 placements. If anybody can say they know what they're doing, it should be me. And here I am in the middle of this gig, 16 years in my career going, do I have it? I don't know if I really have this anymore. And this is, definitely just frustrating, wanting to give up, feeling pain, definitely feeling pain in my brain, in my body, just working really hard at something and not feeling like I'm making any progress. And I just wanted to just, be real with you guys about that feeling that it still comes back for me 16 years into this business. And it's challenging and it's hard. And, after that, I really did walk away for a little bit. I basically kind of hung up the headphones and just got out of my office, went and just, lived my life and did other things essentially for the rest of the day. Came back the next day, tried again, and got a little closer than that time. And it wasn't the right one. I didn't stick with that one, but I thought, at least now my head's in the game. I really now am really focusing on these visuals as I'm composing, because that's not always what we do. Sometimes we're just composing. We don't have any visual assets. But when they give you like a rough edit or a visual asset to compose to, that better be your guiding, North Star. That better be your reference that you're always going back to and going like, am I really nailing it? Am I matching the vibe here? And also, are my beats and impacts hitting with where the visuals change or where something animates, right? So there's a whole bunch of elements to that. So when I came back the next day, I was like, okay, it's a little bit closer. This is definitely closer than what I was doing before, but it wasn't it. So again, that one wasn't the keeper. It was not until the next second one, I kind of wiped that one out, came back again, and I was like, now I feel like I'm sitting into the groove. Like I'm actually feeling like I'm fitting in with the visuals. The music is captivating. It's interesting. It's getting my head nodding, right? We always got to make sure that whatever we're doing, we don't get so lost in the weeds that we forget. Your track just needs to be a good track, right? You just need to make a song and a beat and a riff, whatever it is. This was definitely more like indie rock I was doing, but that makes your head nod and gets you feeling good and pumped up or whatever it is you're doing, right? So I was doing that, and I finally got the visuals, and it all started to come together a little bit more effortlessly, but it took quite a few dress rehearsals before that kind of came out. And again, climbing myself out of that rut, out of that feeling of, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a fraud. I'm an imposter. I don't know, I'm basically faking it. Why would anybody hire me for these kind of gigs? Struggling with all those thoughts. but trying not to take those too seriously. I caught myself a few times remembering that, oh, I've been here before. Yeah, I know. It feels like I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. But I will. And I just didn't know how I'd get out of it, but I just kept on saying to myself, don't take it too seriously. Don't beat yourself up too hard. You have to kind of get back on the horse and figure out how do you ride this thing again. And so I remember a few times just giving myself just microsecond pep talks, these tiny little pep talks of going like, don't worry about that so much. You'll be all right. Just keep trying. And eventually I got to the point where when I click send, and I just sent it just this morning, I felt really good, really proud of what I put in there. And I even put it to the library owner. I said, hey, the last one, because I'd sent one of the rough ideas. I said, that last one I was definitely not confident about. This one, I'm finally in the groove. This one I really do feel. It might not get it. I'm not saying I'm a shoo-in at all. There's other people that are submitting. But at least this one, I hang my hat on the wall and go like, that one, that was me, right? That's really my best effort that I can put in at this point. So I just wanted to share that with you guys to let you know that you're not alone if you feel like it's too hard sometimes, or that you're a failure, or you don't have what it takes, or nothing you're making musically is feeling good or inspirational, or you're just getting stuck, right? That's kind of where I was getting. I was just getting stuck over and over and over again and going like, I need to push through this wall. Like I can only get this far. And then my creativity just kind of takes this big drag and this big fall down. So it's normal. It's very healthy. It's a part of the human existence. It's a part of the sync licensing industry, and you are not crazy to feel that way. And it definitely doesn't mean that you are a failure. It doesn't. If you feel that way, it doesn't mean that it's true. It's just a thought, just a feeling, just a vibe, right? And sometimes it really does help. I think this video for sure, it's kind of my venting process, my therapy. But also just to let you guys know and give you permission that it's okay for you to say the same exact thing. And that's really what we do in Sync Academy so often. And I love it. It's struggling to, it's tough to see somebody who's struggling. But what I love, what really gives me like warmth, is that knowing that we have a safe community for people to feel like they can just be honest and real about they're not feeling it this week or this month. They just haven't been creative. They're not feeling good. They need some help. They need to also, sometimes it's not that we need to even like give each other advice or help each other. It's just we need to let that off our chest, right? Just get that out of our heads. And then when you hear somebody else in a community, a sync licensing community like we have, say, oh yeah, I've been there too. Or maybe this video for many of you guys going like, okay, Jesse's been there too. We can do this. I can get through this, right? Sometimes just letting it out, knowing that somebody else gets it, they've been where you are, and they just validate essentially like, yep, totally normal. We've all been there. The only way through that wall, or past that wall, I guess, is to go through it, right? There's really no other solution to that. Not a tutorial. I don't, sometimes just talking to other people can certainly help, but really it comes down to you, your ability to kind of sit back down in front of your DAW, even when you're not feeling it, you're not feeling inspired. Listen to music. I mean, that's one of my sort of go-tos is exercise and music. If I can go for a long walk, putting on some great music, I'm going to feel really invigorated and energized, and maybe even inspired. I might hear something in a song that's like, that's kind of a cool idea. That's sort of an interesting approach. Maybe I can try something like that with what I'm doing. So you never know where inspiration is going to hit you. But whatever you got to do, just hang in there. Don't give up. Don't give in to the despair. Don't walk away from it just because it gets tough for maybe a couple of days or maybe a couple of weeks or months, right? It's just part of the process, and I want you guys to know that it's very normal and very healthy. So let me know what you guys think. Is this helpful? Is this inspirational? Have you been going through something like this? Hey, this is your invitation, your opportunity. Even if you're not in Sync Academy, post it below. Get it off your chest. I guarantee you'll probably feel a little better just knowing that other people can relate to you and can really validate what you're going through.